My name's Findlay Napier. I'm a folk singer, songwriter and teaching artist. I'm from Glasgow. I got involved in this project because I've worked with Neil Pearson before on other projects. When I write for myself, I tend to write on a project by project basis anyway. So I'm used to kind of making songs up out of bits from the internet and like newspaper articles, photographs, stuff like that. And writing songs about real people has been something I've spent enormous amounts of time doing. So this is kind of like my specialist area. I feel like. So far, I guess the we got here. We've been to the museum in Donny and had a look round, which was really good, and it was really good as well because the guys kind of went, "This looks like might be something interesting," but even just like seeing the pictures and all that kind of stuff, I think is really good. But the articles, like you can usually pull quite a lot out of articles. But almost what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm looking for wee lines and then I'm pulling things out. So it's kind of like a bit of a sort of magpie thing, looking for little bits, shiny stuff that sticks out. And often it'll just all kind of slot together. It's quite random. It's worked out pretty well. It's quite handy having other folk and going, "What are you writing about? Are you writing about that person?" Like there's someone called Frida Hooper, and we were worried that all of us were going to write about her, so we've all avoided Frida, and now we're getting towards the end of the project. Bella's got something, and I think I've got like a way in. Sometimes it's quite hard to find your way into the song, so it's quite good as well just to have somebody sat and chat to them and go, what's your angle on this? You could just tell the story, the whole story, or you could just tell a wee bit of the story and leave the rest of it to the audience's imagination, or you could be in the story singing it, or you could be. So, for example, the Frida Hooper thing, you could be Frida Hooper, right? But my angle, I think she got loads of letters from guys on the front line, so my angle is going to be more like somebody who's writing to her. That's the way that I think I can make it work. I'll maybe go via a notebook. I'll usually go via a notebook, and then I'll type something up on the laptop. I'll go notebook, and then I'll try and put a tune on it, and then I'll go through and I'll maybe type it onto the laptop. And as you sing through it, you start to see, that doesn't work, or that doesn't work. Like that line doesn't sing. In fact, here, listen. There's let me fire this up. There's a bit on this one here that I was doing earlier. Hang on. Which I wonder if I've got on this. So when we were in the museum, there was little Tommy Atkins, the soldier's son. I don't know if you saw that. It's like like the playing cards, Happy Families playing cards. And I saw that and I thought that is actually quite creepy, So there was Mr. Atkins, Mr. Tommy Atkins, the soldier, as in Tommy, and then Mrs. Atkins, the soldier's wife, and little Tommy Atkins, the soldier's son, and there he is in his outfit with his gun, and I'm always intrigued about these boys that signed up early. Like my grandpa signed up early to World War II. He lied about his age, and they kept him on for the extra 2 years as well. So I'd written this little Tommy Atkins, but like there's version 1 with my daughter's name written 7 times across the page, and then version 2 is quite different. So maybe why don't I sing you a good version of and the same verse where it's been changed? Here we go. So like, little Tommy Atkins walked 10 miles in the rain. Boots don't fit the kit, his heavy feet in constant pain. Quite difficult to get that in, eh? Trained him with a vicar, stuck bayonets into straw. Packed them off to sunny France, loaded on a train, or something. And then I think it turned to little Tommy Atkins marching 10 miles in the rain, pissing in your boots to help relieve the pain. Now he can point a rifle, bayonet the straw, and they sent him off to Flanders, packed aboard a train. Sent him off to Flanders, packed aboard a train.
Bring it all back to start.
Yeah. So I guess the thing about that is that it's that.
So I've had to
It's kind of got that "Oh What a Lovely War"
teach
like
myself how
jaunty
to be a
feel to
stonemason.
it, but underneath it there's a kind of dark, element, which I like. And I think one of the things that I felt like when we came to this project, there's been an awful lot of songs written about the First World War because of many projects, because of the centenary, but also there's been a load of great songs written in the folk tradition. Certainly there's loads, and there's loads of very good ones, so there's it's a pretty high bar, but I'm not sure. I quite like the idea of exploring what happened once they came back, and I think when I go away from here, I think that's the sort of line I'm gonna go down. But I was gonna give you an example. The guys at the museum, Jude and her team, they gave us letters that have been written to Amy, what's her name? Amy Tyreman. So if you go in the museum at Donny, you'll see the letters. But what I've done is you can, if you take the bits out of them, you can shuffle them round like you know what I mean? Like you can take them out like there's a block of text, shuffle it all around, and kind of make them into verses. So I've got half a chorus here. Were it not for your kindness, we would probably have to be oft. Were it not for your kindness, we would often be downhearted. Were it not for your comforts, we would never be warm. That would work as a chorus for and then this. So that's out of one of the letters. Just juggled round the guy's words a wee bit. And then I've got, Dear Amy, I'm soaked through to the skin. It's my first Christmas away from home. 6 of us came out as pals and only 2 remain, somewhere in Flanders, 26 and alone. So the idea of this is that every first line will start, Dear Amy, something, 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 and every last line will be who it is and where they are. So, where did I write the rest of it? Maybe, did I put it on the laptop? I have a great system here. Here we go. Dear Amy, before dawn it's this bitterly cold. We wait for the Gothas to come rumbling through. Swinging a searchlight across the night sky, a sapper near Dover sends his thanks to you. Dear Amy, my duty defends old England's shores. On watches I dream to return to the plough. I think of my family sat round the fire as wind drives the sea and waves dash over the bow. Haven't got that one quite straight yet, but then I'll have to get the guy's name in actually. And then, were it not for your kindness, we'd be often downhearted. Were it not for your comforts, we'd never be warm. And I want to get this line in here: Queen Mary's Needlework Guild, so in knit. But I can't work out how to do it. But I think it'd be quite funny because it sounds weird, against that sort of bit flowery. And that was another thing that's in there as well, is the Canary Girls. I had a brilliant. My dad's a really big history fan, and I was chatting to him just before as I was driving here, and I said, "Listen, have you got any ideas of good books to read?" We asked Jude as well. Any ideas of any good books to read just to get ahead in the right place, get some kind of good leads? And my dad is reading a book right now about the end of the First World War, and he was saying I hadn't realised that they never paid the debt off until 2007. So Gordon Brown paid off the debt from World War One. So we had the World War One debt, and then World War Two happened, so we were even more in debt. But it's taken a long time. So the country was bankrupt. I didn't know that these guys came home and got nothing. I didn't know that I'd forgotten that half the guys, well, not half the guys, most of the guys couldn't vote because they were under 21. The women couldn't vote either, and there was nurses and all kinds of women doing jobs out near the front, plus all the people doing stuff at home. I mean, it's an absolute shambles. And there's quite a lot of lies about the end of the First World War that we've kind of been fed over the years that I think could be quite interesting to be explored in song, even if it's just a couple of lines here and a couple of lines there. Like at the end of that, Tommy Atkins, like the guy killing himself, like PTSD is a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's been going on for years, shell shocking or whatever they decided to call it at the time. So I think that could be interesting, and I think the guys were interested at Donny as well in in trying to draw parallels between between then and now as well, and I think that shouldn't be as tricky as we thought. There's always going to be stuff, and certainly voting and that kind of stuff could be interesting, and the fact that the country was broke. Yeah.
Little Tommy Atkins, the soldier's son, striding round the town with his wooden gun. Mother digs for victory, Daddy went to war. It'll all be over as soon as it begun. It'll all be over as soon as it begun. Little Tommy Atkins lied about his age. Didn't whatever Mother Atkins slapped him, flew into a rage. He didn't want a feather, he didn't like the school. Chaplain waved him off, lad, don't forget to pray. Chaplain waved him off, lad, don't forget to pray. Little Tommy Atkins marched 10 miles in the rain, pissing in your boots to help relieve the pain. Now he can point the rifle, bayonet the straw. Send him off to Flanders, back to board a train. Send him off to Flanders, back to board a train. Little Tommy Atkins gassed up the front line. Stop your crying, private, where's your effing spine? Bullet in the shoulder, shrapnel in his arse. Patched up and sent back to kill the Prussian swine. Patched up and sent back to kill the Prussian swine. Little Tommy Atkins, the soldier's son, shambles round the streets of his quiet English town. Mother doesn't say much, Daddy's in the ground. There's no jobs for heroes now the war is won. There's no job for heroes now the war is won. Poor old Tommy Atkins couldn't talk to anyone. Had a little accident cleaning out his gun. Bullet blew his head off, heard it down the street. Here lies Tommy Atkins, modern warfare's son. Here lies Tommy Atkins, modern warfare's son. For Tommy it was over as soon as it began. For Tommy it was over as soon as it began. Thank you.